Oh, let's look at the Apocrypha. It'll offer us a bunch of answers, right? Actually, the Apocrypha make things way worse before they make anything better. Cain and his daughters were down on the plain below the mountain, and they would engage in kind of live theater, let's say. If OnlyFans were like a live theater performance, let's just say. And
Okay.
yeah, it's bad. So the word that is used for these men when they're on the mountain is overseer. Now, overseer, if you know your Greek, is where we get the word bishop.
So
And
these are the guys that made it somewhere to like bishop or stake president before they read the CS letter and had their midlife crisis, and now they're showing up on John DeLynn. Those are the modern watchers.
Right, exactly. If ever a child was born, they would either sacrifice it and eat it for its blood, or they would throw it into the abyss as a ritual. It was bad.
Boomers sucking all resources away from their children so they can live in squalor and poverty.
I don't know
if I'd go
that far. They say this in the books of Enoch. They say they were consuming men. They were eating men. They were eating their own children and doing rituals and all these things to try to extend their lives. They thought they would live forever. And what's the first thing the Lord does after the flood? Shortens lifespans.
All of the scriptural references used in this episode will be brought to you by scripturenotes.com. For a free trial to Scripture Notes, please visit the link in the description. Okay, Jonah. So we got your book here, The Lost Gems of Genesis. And I got to know, you're the guy that's the associate professor of all things apocryphal.
True.
Who were the giants in the book of Genesis? I've been watching a lot of videos lately, and everybody's got an opinion. What's yours?
Okay, that's a huge question.
No pun intended.
Get it?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a giant
huge
question.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Who were the giants? Okay, so you're referring to Genesis chapter 6. It says there were
Giants in the land,
Giants in the land in those
men of
days.
renown. There was the Nephilim, the Anakim, the Rephaim.
Very good. Hey,
Yeah.
look at you. Very good.
Shakalaka.
All right. Yes, all three of those I discussed in the book, and how they're all very related to each other and how. So, where do you start? Okay, so Genesis chapter 6 is where this all comes from. We can go to Genesis chapter 6 here. It's in like verse 4,
Yeah,
I want to say.
cool. Rock on. I'm going to look it up on Scripture Notes. Keep talking.
Look it up on Scripture Notes. So in Genesis chapter 6, verse 4,
Okay.
it says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. What? This verse is very confusing.
Yeah.
And has caused all kinds of problems, especially because right after this, God destroys all of humanity. So it's kind of like, I really would love to know why and what was the deal. So the Apocrypha, so when Joseph does his revelation concerning Adam, he actually keeps this language. He puts in giants. Okay. So you think, oh, well, that doesn't really help much, does it?
Okay.
He actually ends up helping quite a bit. But that actual word, he doesn't change. The word in Hebrew is Nephilim. Okay. And the Nephilim are, it's a very, very interesting word, which we can break down. In Greek, it's gigantes, and gigantes is actually not giant. It doesn't mean giant. It means men of the earth. And that is kind of reflected here. There were giants in the earth in those days.
Kind of like Kronos, like the Titans of Greek mythology that lived underground.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
All right, rock on,
Okay.
rock on.
So if you go back out of English, there is no giants. That's not even a thing. Like the word Nephilim, pre-Masoretic Hebrew, is just Nephilah. And you can insert any vowels to change it. Imagine my name, Jonah. You could change it from Jonah to be Jana, or be
Jano.
June, or be, you could even put vowels at the beginning to be like Jonu or whatever. And you have the same, as long as you have the same consonants, anything goes.
Okay.
And so you can make a million different words from just a couple consonants. And so this word, Nephilah, it's actually a triune meaning. It can mean kind of three different things. And let's see if I can bring it up so people can see what the heck I'm talking about here.
Okay.
in the Discord,
All right.
it's going to be hard to find, but there is a little paragraph that says, through word plays.
Okay.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
This is not, I want everyone to know, this is not my, I'm not a Hebraist.
Yeah.
Okay. I do a little reading. I'm not a Hebraist. Okay.
Yeah,
this
I
is
got
not
it
my
for you,
stuff.
though. I got it for you, though. Yeah, right here.
So through word plays on orthographically similar Hebrew terms, the Nephilim, and you can see it there written in Hebrew, or giants of Genesis 6:4, came to be understood in Jewish texts as fallen ones, Nephilah, using the same consonants, and abortions, Nephilah. Okay?
Whoa, okay.
Now, this is not me. I'm not the one who's like discovering this stuff. This is other people. People have known about this for a long time.
Okay.
The word Nephilah actually means three things. It means mighty, fallen, and abortion. That's what it means.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
What in the world does that have to do with each other?
Yeah.
So if we want to unravel this thing, let's look at the Apocrypha. It'll offer us a bunch of answers, right? Actually, the Apocrypha make things way worse before they make anything better.
Okay.
They introduce a bunch of new characters, a bunch of new complexities to it. The giants are discussed a lot in the Ethiopic Enoch, or First Enoch.
Okay.
It begins, the first 6 or 7 chapters are all about the life before Enoch shows up, the world before the flood, and the giants and how they're the cause of all the problems. Okay, so the giants are the ones who cause God to send the flood, right? These Nephilim, whatever the heck they were. And it introduces a bunch of extra characters. So if you look in the Discord, the very first thing there under Nephilim, it should have a bullet list.
Gotcha.
After reading the Enochian, the Ethiopian sources on this, we have characters of the sons of God, the Watchers, the daughters of men. They got married. They sired the Nephilim, which are sometimes called giants, something. And the situation was so unbelievably wicked that God flooded the whole earth and killed them all.
Okay.
And you're like, great, thanks, Apocrypha. Like, that doesn't help at all. Okay.
Okay.
So when you now if you turn to the Pearl of Great Price, things start to you start to get some light finally.
Okay.
Go to chapter 7.
Okay, cool. Chapter 7.
Chapter 7, first verse.
Right here.
In chapter 7, okay?
And it came to pass that Enoch continued his speech, saying, Behold, our father Adam taught these things, and many have believed and become the sons of God, and many have believed not, and have perished in their sins, and are looking forth with fear and torment for the fiery indignation of the wrath of God to be poured upon them. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So if you remember from Genesis 6:4,
there was the sons of God and the daughters of men. So you become the sons of God by being righteous, or the daughters of men by being sinful.
Okay, yeah. So
I love it.
Genesis 6:4 says, the sons of God saw the daughters of men.
So the sexist, I love it. No.
The sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children, something giants, something Nephilim, something men of renown. Okay, so this already Joseph Smith doesn't say, now I'm going to explain blah blah blah. He just reveals this verse, and it says that in the days of Enoch, Enoch is saying, our father Adam taught these things, and the people who believed became the sons of God. They were given the title Ben Elohim. Okay, they were given the title sons of God. Okay, and that actually occurs. I think it occurs again in that same chapter. It says that all may become his sons.
Okay.
And I have it referenced. I don't have it off the top of my head. But funny thing, because those sons of God are actually mentioned again in the Apocrypha. Okay. So Moses, here we go. Moses chapter 6 verse 68.
Okay.
So remember. Actually, go to chapter 5, verse 13 first.
Jeez, man, I'm
sorry.
All over.
I'm sorry. I'm all over. I wasn't ready. This is all off the top of my head.
It's all good. It's all 5:13.
Moses 5:13. Satan comes among the sons and daughters of Adam and Eve, saying, I am also a son of God.
Oh, dude.
Okay? Then chapter 6, verse 68. This is the gospel of Adam. Behold, thou art in me a son of God. This is the very last verse of that chapter.
Yeah, okay.
And if you notice, he says, thou art in me a son of God, and thus may all become my sons. Amen. So this is clearly a title. Okay? If you are in the covenant and you obey the commandments and you, what Adam just did is he was baptized. You become the son of God. You become one of the sons of God, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that's a little bit of light on the situation here because Genesis says the sons of God. Okay, so sons of God, we're to believe these are the men on the holy mountain who embraced the gospel and took upon themselves covenants. All right, that's that. What the heck does this have to do with the daughters of men? Well, in the book of the Cave of Treasures and in Jubilees and lots of different sources, it talks about how Cain and his daughters were down on the plain below the mountain, and they would engage in kind of live theater. Let's say if OnlyFans were like a live theater performance. Let's just say. And yeah, it's bad.
That's making it into the intro.
Great. Great. So all the Canaanite daughters were down there and they were tempting the sons of Seth. The sons of Seth were up on the mountain and they were saying, hey, come on down, we'll have a good time. And so the sons of Seth finally do go down from the mountain and they can't get back up. They're trapped down on the plain. They've broken all their covenants and they go down to the debauchery that is the daughters of Cain.
With the OnlyFans model. Okay, cool.
And the I can't remember which account says that they were like dogs. They become endorphin hounds.
Okay.
And they used to be these great men who were so to say they're like beasts. Which account is it? I can't remember. But they were these great men. They were righteous men. They had families. They were sealed. They had children. They were priesthood holders. They watched over the people on the mountain, and now they all make a covenant, a blood covenant, and they go down. They're not going to tell anybody what they're doing, and now they get trapped down there, okay?
Okay.
So the word that is used for these men when they're on the mountain is overseer. Now, overseer, if you know your Greek, is where we get the word bishop.
Oh, interesting.
Bishop, episkopos, okay? Episkopos. Epi meaning over and skopos meaning to see. So an overseer, okay, is what a bishop is. He's the overseer. In some languages, that gets translated as watcher. As a watcher.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So these men were watchers over the people on top of the mountain, right? Now they go to the cliffs.
So these are the guys that made it somewhere to like bishop or stake president before they read the CS letter and had their midlife crisis. And now they're showing up on John DeLynn. Those are the modern watchers.
Right, exactly. Well, so these guys, so they're watchers. And then when they go to the cliffs and they start watching the daughters of Cain, it says that they would go out all the time and they'd watch this and they got just locked in. They just can't look away.
Yeah.
And they would go out every evening and they'd watch it. And so they were called the Watchers. And so they got this title, the Watchers. And so in the book of Enoch, when it mentions the Watchers, it's talking about the priesthood holders on top of the holy mountain going to the cliffs and watching this live.
So it's not the fallen angels that like betrayed their first estate and were cast out of heaven?
Right. And
that's is or isn't?
It is not. It is not. These are not supernatural angels.
What?
Yep, not supernatural angels.
I like the Dr. Michael Heiser version better than your version.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
These guys, they don't live on the top of beanstalks. They don't pop children in their mouths like popcorn chicken. Sorry, there's no giants. These are what become the giants. So they go down, and they're called Watchers. Kind of an ironic title. The sons of God. They sleep with the daughters of men, the Canaanite women.
Wait, so you're saying that the giants weren't as supernatural as we thought, that they were basically just the bishops of the day that were betraying their covenants and becoming watchers and overseers of the sin on the plain and participating in it?
Yeah, kind of. So the full story is that they were called mighty men on the mountain. They want to go down from the mountain, but they're afraid they're going to get tattled on. And so their leader, Azazel, I think his name is, and this is from the Ethiopic Book of Enoch, he says, let's make a pact that we won't tell anybody. No one's going to snitch on us. Let's make a blood oath that no one's going to snitch. And
blood oath just to get some booty? That's hardcore, man. Right. All right.
And it's, is it Canaan or is it Enos? I think it's Enos, who says, if you go down there, you're never coming back. You can't come back. And they're like, oh, of course we won't. Of course we won't. This goes on for a long time. They're watching and they're thinking and they're brooding on this idea. Yeah. Finally, they go down, Turns out they can't get back. And one of the Apocrypha has a story of them trying to get up the cliffs, and they just can't. The rocks are too steep, and they just can't get up.
Okay, yeah.
And so they're trapped down there. So now that they're trapped down there with all these women that they've now slept with in this garden of earthly delights, right? This Bosch painting of a world. What do we do? Well, the problem among the daughters of Cain is childbirth. Okay? Is that every time they want to have fun, a baby's born. And the sons of Seth say, we have a remedy for that. And they introduce sterilization. They introduce abortion. Okay?
Jeez. Okay.
A two-prong, and I know this is heavy stuff. Okay? Look, I didn't write this stuff. I'm just reading the text,
no,
okay?
I hear you. Okay.
But they come up with a drink. It says there's a drought that they drink, and that causes the women to become barren, at least semi-barren or temporarily barren. And so they're drugging these women so that they can't have children, so that they can have hedonistic, lives of pleasure with no recourse.
It was like the pill that destroyed the birth rate of American civilization.
Well,
but just in like 2000 BCE, right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And the texts, and I weave all these together in my book so that it tries to make some sense. It's a lot. But the sons of Seth, they introduce this so that hedonism can be totally unrestrained. There's also the tricky problem. This is what the texts say. Don't come after me.
Okay.
The texts talk about lifespans. They have very long lifespans. Okay. Thing about lifespans is women are fertile for about 40% of their lives. Okay. From 16 to 50 or so, right?
Okay.
But if you live for 900 years, then you're fertile for much, 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 much longer. So
that's a lot of menstruation. Poor girls.
So
seriously.
So a woman could have maximum 30 children, with today's lifespans. But if you had these 900-year lifespans, you could have 300, right? So the population is just explodes, and like insane, like it broke my Excel model explodes. And we don't know the details of this stuff. This is all just what the texts are kind of hinting at cryptically. But they introduce, hey, we can just sterilize everybody. And there's not a lot of difference between a person who is 550 years old and a person who's 575 years old. That's only like a 5% difference, right? So for you and me, it would be like a girl who's 1 year younger than us, right? There's not a big difference.
Sure, okay.
The difference among them is that could be your mom. That could be your grandma.
Oh, right? No.
Yes. And so the texts say, and I'm just reading the texts say that hedonism was not restrained by the social constraints that we have today.
Well, that's kind of a little bit insinuated in some of the interpretations of it's called, well, first off, there was the rape outside of Sodom and Gomorrah of...
Right.
Not Seth, the rape of
Lot,
and then also Ham going into Noah. Oh, jeez, bro.
Oh, it's horrible. And I won't read that. I mean, the texts can be very brutal in this graphic. So that chapter I put in that chapter rated R because it gets a little.
Okay.
So incest essentially becomes widespread, and there's no inhibitions at all. And since no one is giving birth anymore, or the birth rate is dropping like a rock, they can get away with it. And this is all because of the sons of Seth, all because of the giants, these watchers. Now, so now Nephilim makes sense. They're the mighty men on the mountain. They fall and they introduce abortion.
Wait, but it kind of always made sense, though, just because there's always been references to giants in like almost every single culture. Okay. And also it then, to me, actual large in stature giants justify more the conquests of Canaan, because the conquests of Canaan were almost always against the cities where the giants were.
The Nephilim.
The Nephilim.
Remember, it never says giants. Never says giants. That word doesn't. Well, the word is not in there anywhere.
Okay, no, but the final child of the Rephaim and the Anakim was indeed the giant that says, one of them says his bed was like 13 cubits long, and then there was also Goliath of Gath, which was one of the last cities of either the Anakim or the Rephaim, right?
Yep.
And so it's like there is references to their actual physical stature. So where'd those giants come from if they're not the giants that were in the land at that time? Because people have traced the lineage of the giants through all these different cities. And then whenever people try and say like, oh, the Bible just justifies genocide, I've always looked at them and said, yeah, well, if you believe that slaughtering giants is a genocide against humans,
well,
we're not dealing with normal humans here. We're dealing with giants. So were they literally is now Joshua just this bloodthirsty genocidal Palestine 2.0 maniac or what?
Nope. So I go through this in my book. And it's a lot to like fit into like
okay.
I'm trying to like summarize it all. But when the spies go into Canaan and come back and report on what they've seen, if you read it very carefully,
okay,
they come back and they say, we have seen Nephilim. We see the Nephilim there. Now remember, Nephilim doesn't mean giant. It never did. It means mighty, fallen, and abortions. That's what it means. Okay? So they see, we've seen Nephilim in there. And you're
so like the debaucherous people. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you're thinking, what is this? I can even find it here in my book. I'll try to find it. They go through and they say, we be not able to go against the people, blah, 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 blah. The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw Nephilim, the sons of Anak.
But they also said that like we were like locusts next to them.
Yes,
like,
yes, they do.
So that insinuates not just social status, but actual physical size.
Right. Now, I don't believe that. I think the Deuteronomists are. This stuff was misinterpreted before the Bible was even written. So I just don't. They weren't giants. There's no evidence that they were giants.
So you're arguing like an atheist, is what you're doing, eh?
No, just the Bible's corrupted. I just know it's corrupted.
Okay.
But so what they're really saying is they're saying the sons of Anak. This means the dead, the people who were flooded. This is a huge explanation that I'm trying to sum up. They see the Nephilims, the aborters. They say there are men we saw in it. Are all the people we saw are men. There's no women in Canaan. The only woman ever mentioned in Canaan is a sex slave who's kidnapped. She's a sex slave. There's no women and children in Canaan. Joshua isn't slaughtering women and children. It's all the sterilizers, the men who kidnap and sterilize women. That's what they are. So, anyways, look, this is my theory
I got you.
that I've pieced together. But that's why the Lord decides to flood the earth, because He says famously in Genesis chapter 6, "The end of all flesh is before me." He's not saying, I'm going to destroy all flesh. He's saying all flesh is ending before our eyes.
Because of their wicked habits.
They've destroyed. And they say in the Mandaean Book of Enoch, they say, Satan says to his angels, we're going to take the germ of fertility from them. We're going to sterilize them all so that no one else can be born. God says in the Hebrew Book of Enoch, He says, don't come crying to me because you're sterile. You made yourselves sterile. The Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer says that they turned children into ritual. They prided themselves on not having children. They said the earth will be ours, and they would, if ever a child was born, they would either sacrifice it and eat it for its blood, or they would throw it into the abyss as a ritual. It was bad. And the sons of Seth,
they wanted to inherit the earth, and they were living forever.
They thought they were living forever. And that's borne out. And there's a lot of documents that I thread this thing together. And you can read it, make your own. You can have your own opinion. I have my theories. I'm just piecing together what the texts say. But there were no giants. They were not, at the top of beanstalks. That word just doesn't occur. It isn't until the Deuteronomists get a hold of the text that they start saying, and he was 13 cubits, whatever. And the Ethiopic Book of Enoch does that as well. It says they were 3,000 miles high. You're like, 3,000 miles high? Really? They were 3,000 miles high? But if you look at Joseph Smith's contributions to the discussion, which I detail in the book, it makes a lot more sense why the Lord flooded the earth, what was the great sin of the Nephilim, and how we're wrong about it. We've always been wrong about it. It has to do with cutting off the human race, sterilizing the entire human race, and aborting all the children. And that's why the Lord says, we gotta undo this. And all the Nephilim, the Rephaim, the Anakim, everything, I'd handle it all in the book. A lot of this comes from greater minds than mine. Hebraists who are much smarter And if you thread it together using the lens that Joseph gives us, it finally starts to make sense.
Dude, that could be some like killer members only content, or maybe a bonus episode or something.
Sure.
So you're saying the sin of the giants was basically eugenics, desterilization, and abortion, basically. Or the sin of the great men of renown was basically doing like Kronos did, eating Zeus.
Absolutely.
In order to prevent the rising, like boomers sucking all resources away from their children so they can live in squalor and poverty.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. But...
Oh, okay, cool. So, wow, holy smoke, that's incredible.
And it finally starts to make sense. So look, there might be other theories out there. I present my theory. I spend like 150 pages. I was not planning on writing this book all about this, but there's so much about it. So you can read and you can kind of judge for yourself. Now, this comes up again in the New Testament. It bears out in Greek and in Hebrew. This isn't just, and what were the horrible things that the Gadianton robbers were doing that were brought back by the Jaredites? Remember the Jaredites went from millions to one guy?
Yeah.
It's a little suspicious, don't you think?
Okay,
right?
okay.
And why? Because they adopt these secret combinations. And what did Cain do? Drank the blood of Abel. He thought it would extend his life, try to steal the life of his brother. And so if children were born to the antediluvians, they would drink their blood or eat them. And they say this in the books of Enoch. They say they were consuming men. They were eating men. They were eating their own children and doing rituals and all these things to try to extend their lives. They thought they would live forever. And what's the first thing the Lord does after the flood? Shortens lifespans. He says, okay, this was a giant mistake. This is a huge mistake.
Dude, we got to save that for the show.
Anyway,
we're saving that for the show.
There's more. There's a ton.
Can we do another one on this?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to do another one on this. Until then, you've answered the question. We're not going to bury the lead and go down to the rabbit hole. We're going to start a whole new episode for that one. In fact, we might make that a really cool members first video. And this would be a good opportunity to publicize joining the channel. If you want to support this work that we got going on here, please join the channel below. I think you can get in for like $3.99 a month, $5.99 a month, something like that. If you're super generous, there's larger options out there. But we're probably going to make a members first video. If you join this channel, you oftentimes get early access to content, which is a really, really cool perk of being a member of this channel. So please consider that below. Make sure you guys check out The Lost Gems of Genesis. It can be found at none other than Plain and Precious Publishing, along with Jonah's other book, which is Key to the Keystone behind him. You can see it right there. Make sure you guys check out that website and pick up some merch there. You can use the coupon code WardRadio for his older book, Key to the Keystone, and buy at normal price the Lost Gems of Genesis here for the first, I believe, month. They're giving early access to members of WardRadio to check out there. So please make sure you guys check out his book. If you guys want to support our channel, you can check out the Amazon wish list. We had actually a really interesting, fun gift from the Amazon wish list that just came in, and I might as well just read it right now. We had one of these RF modulators, which is actually going to be used as a prop in one of our devotional videos. But he said, I tried to send you joy with a click. This is by M. Smith. He oftentimes purchases from our Amazon wish list to support the channel. He says, I tried to send joy with a click, but Amazon played some cruel trick. This item's too grand to be shipped as you planned, so I cursed, then just sent you this shtick, which is the RF. Look, I already labeled it RF to
extra
HDMI
points
module.
for rhyming.
Yeah, good job. Extra points for rhyming. Thank you so much, guys, for your support of the channel. For this and more, please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.